You didn't believe anything that I said. When they came, you were not prepared. Then it all fell right on your head. And now you're lying in your bed. You've got yourself in a rabbit hole. You're trapped 'cause you did not let go. You took that bait and now you...
Hey everybody, it's Kerry with Alice Eats the Apple and
Kerry with Stardust and Silver Linings.
so it's K and K and we're in the new studio and we have a producer, Mr. Michael. We're so excited. And so in the way it's set up, I'm not really sure where to look because we have several cameras. So watch this. This is fun. Look. My arm went all the way around the world and hit her. Isn't that funny? Anyway, so Kerry's back. It's been a while since I've seen you. I think you're
I
supposed to look there.
know. It's been a while.
Yeah. What have you been up to?
Well, you know, school just started. So just like you, I've been doing the family thing and the summer vacation thing. And, you know, just...
You have to look there.
Am I not looking there? I swear I'm looking right there.
I don't know. Michael, where are we looking? Okay. There we go.
I'm looking at me.
There we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, same with us. I mean,
Your vacation looked phenomenal, by the way. I bragged about that to everybody I could about how cool that was.
Well, thank you. You're talking about the one to Wyoming? I think it's the only one I went on.
You just floated on a boat to an island and found a new place to camp.
There was no floating.
Okay, rowing.
That was kayaking. Yes, for 3 days. That was really fun. The majestic, the mountains, the Tetons. Did you know Tetons, I think they mean breasts?
Oh, they were very grand.
Anyway, it was wonderful. We went to Jackson Hole and we sandwiched in this camping. It was kind of glamping actually. We kayaked and then we'd kayak out to an island and we would hike and do all this stuff. Then we'd get back in and we'd kayak to a different place and we'd set up tent but it was part of a tour, Oars, and I'm not getting paid for this, but OARS. It was amazing because they fed us and I think we gained weight.
Oh,
camping. And
good.
so anyway, that was really, really fun. And I've been doing a lot of, camera. I've been taking a lot of pictures of craft in the sky.
Did you see any out there?
No, not one. And then I get home and I check my video, all over the place.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird? I mean, I would
weird.
check it while I was there, and anyway, it was really interesting. And you know who was with us? So there was our camping group was relatively small, maybe 10 of us, and there were several kids and several moms, single moms who went kayaking and camping with their kids. And there was a chaplain, and he's retired. He in the Army, and he was head of all the chaplains in the United States and I think beyond. And I was like, of course I would end up with someone in the spirit world, in the religious world. And he was very open, and he was just an incredible man. And they're from Houston. They're up by you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So how was he with your kind of stuff? Well,
no, I
hold back?
I did. I'm learning to
Right.
compartmentalize and not tell everybody that I'm a little bit on the freaky side,
Right.
but it is. He was great. And he has to be pretty open because he's with all of these guys and women from all different backgrounds. Mm-hmm. And he said, I don't have issues with any of that. And not that I didn't say, do you have issues with it? I think someone else actually did. And he said, it's just when people take credit for God, like I'm reading and I'm doing this thing and I am, and I thought that's really true. And I think I feel the same way. It is because it's really all about God.
Yes.
Which actually brings me to today's show.
Oh, tell me.
So I woke up this morning. First time I woke up was a little after 4, laughing. And I was just giggling, and I woke myself up laughing. And I was on the Ellen show, and I was telling her stories, and I was just cracking myself up. And so I thought that, because I always, like with these tea time type shows, I always kind of look for the inspiration, and I ask for the inspiration. And I thought, okay, let's just talk about fun stuff, like the day in the life of a psychic, metaphysical type mom, and how all of these worlds weave together. Mm-hmm. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Kerry and I don't really talk. Kerry doesn't talk on the phone.
I don't.
She texts.
Bad about
a little bit.
Bad about that.
So,
but
what have you been up to?
Well,
I haven't seen you besides being a mom.
Yeah, just the mom stuff. And I had my own really good vacation. I went to another volcano or something out in Washington with my kids, and I had a really good time.
Washington State. Well, I guess that's the only Washington State.
I think it's the only one with volcanoes.
So were you up around the
Yeah.
City Ranch?
Yeah, well, probably, but I don't really know where that
Davis?
is.
Mount Davis?
I don't know where that is, so.
Well, did you see Kraft?
No, I didn't look, though. I was all about mom. But I was going to go. I want you triggered
It's just
something.
a camera. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
Okay.
well, believe me, there were plenty of pictures, but they were all about the
About the
earth. Yep. But
Tara.
God, you just triggered something. Something about. Oh, I know. You're talking about how we're metaphysical moms and just living in the woo and stuff.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned about compartmentalizing. But you know what I've noticed, and this is part of who I am. Everybody recognizes this about me, and it's one of the biggest compliments I get about how I'm just so me the way I am. And it's not like a day in the life of a metaphysical mom or whatever. It's just day in the life of me, because I have just become so immersed in that world that, that stuff just will fall out of my mouth wherever I am at. It is my norm, and I appreciate so much having this tribe around me to be able to just be myself.
Well, I think I just wrote that in a card. Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Michael, if I look at her, does it look like I'm looking at her sort of the Brady Bunch style, or am I looking the wrong way?
No, that we're looking the other way. That's
Oh, yes. Carrie's over
see?
here.
See? So when I look,
Can you?
Yes.
There, okay, now.
keep talking, Kari.
Okay, so anyway, so you're very authentic, and that's what I've always, at first it scared me. Really? I was like, and I was just so intrigued. I had to learn more and peel back those onion layers, which your onion's not very thick. They're already, there's not a lot to peel back. And so anyway, yes, I agree with you.
And a couple years ago, the things that, when you first met me, I wasn't even into the same stuff. It is so back then. Can you imagine meeting me now with the things that would come out of my mouth? Holy cow.
Well, Michael is meeting you now, so it'll be interesting to see what his take is.
Oh, no, well, we already discussed the bang party downstairs, so he's got a little taste.
Would you like to explain that?
I will explain that. Somebody's doing some kind of construction or something, and they're banging it around.
Plumbing,
Yeah, plumbing, so I called it the bang party.
Yeah, I was downstairs at the bang party.
Right.
Well, I have a couple things I want to tell you.
I want to hear them. Go. Lay them on me, sister.
So we've had a lot of. I've been really intrigued with where spirituality is connecting with science.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know. I do, and it's. I like the grounded. I like how technology is starting to catch up, and science is catching up.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of liken it, and please forgive me. I'm not a scientist. I'm not learned in this area, but this is just my take on it. I feel like at one point, when we didn't understand how things worked, we believed that, or I think it was the Egyptians believed that that there was the moon god that brought the moon. The chariots would race at night and bring the moon into the sky.
Okay.
Well, obviously, we know that's not really true. Mm-hmm. And as time goes on, we know more. And there is this idea. There's this group called Free, and it was Dr. Mitchell, who was an astronaut. He actually went to the moon. Dr. Schild, he works at Harvard. He's a professor. And Mary Atwell. Anyway, there's this group, and they came together, and they said, what if the paranormal, and I'm paraphrasing here, and I know I've talked about this before, but a little bit, but they said, what if the paranormal is actually contact from other dimensions, from ETs, mainly ETs, mm-hmm. And what if our technology just hasn't caught up yet? So, for example, what if there are some of us that have the ability to, I'm not calling anybody a dog, but how dogs can see more on the spectrum?
Yes.
What if there are people that can just see more? Maybe their DNA is turned on in a different way, or maybe, and eventually science will catch up, and you are seeing someone that has exited this dimension, and we'll have better understanding of that, and they're in the other dimension.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that has intrigued me, and the ET topic has intrigued me for quite some time. And so then the way this maps out, and eye patterns are just phenomenal. And it is, I Bill Spicer reached out to me and said, hey, guess what I can do? I can video craft. So you guys have met him and a couple shows. It got great response to him. And so then I'm showing, and I kind of mentioned this, or maybe I cut it out. I may have cut it out, but I like signs. I like to know that I'm on the right track. And so I asked my guides one night, I'm like, is this stuff real? I mean, I always ask that. Last time I asked that, I ended up with a pyramid in the back of my, reflecting off my cabinet in the back, off my plate onto the back of the cabinet. And there may be a picture of that, I'm not sure, but I know I posted it a lot. And then that was like the very next morning. So this time I asked, is this stuff real? This whole alien ET stuff real? And not, I mean, I know it's real, but what I'm doing.
Right.
And next morning I wake up and I have these white dots on my forehead. And actually it looks like a star pattern. There are some bigger ones and some smaller ones, and they're in this pattern. And someone was like, well, it might be Candida. I'm like, well, that's really interesting timing then. So we'll just look at the timing. And it's not that I'm trying to read between the lines. One day, my head's blank with the exception of some wrinkles and maybe some age spots. And the next morning, I have white dots on my head. I mean, lack of color.
Right.
So I sent it to Bill and I said, okay, what do you think of this? And he said, well, I have this friend, Margie, who you guys have met. Look at how this world is coming together.
Love it.
And he said, and she thinks that perhaps it really was alien. They're going, yep, boink,
You've been marked.
This is real. And I think they might be going to, yeah. So I thought that was sort of an interesting, and he said, so by way of explaining it the way I am now, which is sort of drawing this map, I was telling him about the pyramid and the reflection. He said that is a holographic communication. It's a holographic, and that Dr. Schild and Dr. Edgar Mitchell, they talk about that, and they talk about communication, and that oftentimes that's how these different entities communicate. And I'm like, Dr. Schild, who is this man? And so I really want him on the show. And so then I call Ashley previously from the E City Ranch. She doesn't have a last name. That's why I always call her that. And she said, oh, you may want to talk to this person who wrote this book, who's a hybrid gray, talking about grays, because Bill had mentioned that he thought it was grays. Are y'all following me? I'm really talking a lot. But
go ahead.
And I'm like, grays, we all hear all this
There's different
negative
kinds
stuff.
of grays.
Exactly.
It's okay.
We may have to talk about that because
Yes.
I didn't know that. So anyway, so I reached out to her, and I'm about to upload the show, which by the time you guys see this, you will have seen the show, and you will have met Susie Hansen. Guess who does the footnotes in Susie's book?
You just laid too many names. Lay it on me
Dr.
again.
Schild.
Well,
The Harvard
there you
guy.
go. There
And
you
so
go.
all of these are
Love
coming
it.
in. So anyway, so we do the show, upload it. I'm kind of like a little stressy about it and kind of putting it out there. It is. Anyway, so I took the ET sticker off the back of my car so that my son, which by the way, I'm not supposed to say Charlie's name, Charlie, because
Oh, you're not supposed to say Charlie's name?
we're not supposed to say Charlie's
I
name.
won't say Charlie's
Don't
name
say Charlie's
either. I'm
name.
not
My
gonna
high
say Charlie's
schooler,
name.
because he comes in and he says, by the way, Mom, his best friend, he's on the debate team. They both
Can
are.
you say his name?
No, just to be on the safe side, I won't say his name. So Charlie comes in and he says, my friends all found your show.
Oh.
And he's like, would you please not use my name? I said, sure, Charlie, no problem. And then he comes back and he says, and I said, well, how did they find his show? I mean, how did they find your show? I know you're not talking about it. At one
Right.
point, they were really proud of it, not so
Right.
much now. He said, because the unnamed kid told them all about it. I'm like, all right, Charlie, I won't say your name. So I'm not
Okay,
saying Charlie's
Charlie.
name. Yeah. So I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, so the next morning, so I'm a little bit freaky about this whole. The reason I brought that up is that when he started high school, I took all the paraphernalia off my car, and I'm trying to be normal. The other people from junior high and elementary knew me, loved me, kind of saw me through the process, and they knew me before, and these people don't. And it is a Catholic school, and it's a school that I really admire and love, and so I don't want to alienate. But compartmentalizing, not doing a good job right now. But so the other day I was asking, okay, so cue up the bug pictures. So the other day I'm putting up all this stuff, and I'm like, oh God, and I just kind of like all the wind went out of my sails, and I just thought, am I done? I mean, was this all I'm supposed to do? And I'm just sort of like, I don't know where to go now. Give me a sign. I'm walking Skittles at the park, and I had been told you will get things 3 times. Pay attention when they come in threes. And on the 5 steps later, after saying, okay, I would like a sign, these cicadas, there were 3 cicadas hanging on the bottom of the tree. This one, and this guy's halfway out. Then there was a beautiful one with its wings. I think he was drying. That guy, and the other one's probably his old shell. But there were 3 of them there. And I'm like, okay. So I went home, got my camera, came back, took pictures. I thought, okay, that might be a sign. I mean, it 3s. And I looked it up, and it said,
What?
Transformation. That is the transformation.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, yesterday I got a phone call from, or someone had reached out on Facebook, and she'll be on the show next week. Fascinating, and she does decoding, and she's like, I don't know why I'm reaching out to you. I'm like, I know why you're reaching out to me, because you're supposed to.
Our higher selves are having a little powwow up there.
Yeah, like, okay, cue this person, cue Wendy left.
Right.
And so anyway, so it's been a really interesting, so I'm just now sitting back going, ha ha, what's next?
Yeah, just allowing, bring it. I got a cool communication story for you. I haven't had a chance to tell you yet, but in my group Stardust,
Yes.
we my partner Heather, she likes to give us the latest crop circles. Here's another one found, so she'll post that stuff. Well, we decided,
ETs, it is Stardust.
Right?
Oh yeah. That's the central theme.
It is. Well, we decided to try to communicate with an ET race. So we had like a little informal contest about how
No dots. Okay.
No dots.
Just wondering.
fix the fluff, like a crop circle design contest or whatever.
Cool.
So a few people participated in it.
I didn't know about this.
We voted and we chose one, and it was my friend Jesse's who was the big winner. Well, it wasn't too much longer that it's gonna make me cry. It wasn't the exact pattern, but it was almost the same. It was very, very similar to what he did with specific shapes. So we set and then so we meditated. We had a meditation to call out, hey, ETs, if anybody wants to come out and create this design for us, please do. Well, it was about a week to 10 days later, and the design showed up.
Where?
I believe it was in France or England. I'm not sure.
Really?
So then Heather went ahead and we channeled those beings that made that crop circle for us. And they didn't have, and I wish I was more prepared for this, but it's all on video on Stardust. But they had a name, and they told us why they're here, and they just basically answered our call just to communicate. The message didn't mean anything other than hi, and we heard your message, and we're here to greet you.
So to really not that you need confirmation, but I know that so when you video craft in the sky, I can feel it when I connect. It's like this, like chung chung, and it just sort of like falls into place. And you have to ask, because I think they're up there all the time, and so they don't know you're asking. I mean, they don't know that you're video. I mean, they're not like watching you the whole time, and so you send it out and you ask, and for 2 weeks I got nothing. I mean, I was videoing, I got bupkis, and I told Bill, I'm getting nothing. I don't know what happened. He said, have you been connecting before you video? I said, no, because I'd gotten sort of, uppity about it. And I don't need to. They're right there. There's right there.
Right.
No, they really weren't. And the next time I connected, I got it again.
I think that's a significant point to make, because I get a lot of people that say, well, it doesn't happen. I asked. You have to be consistent. And you said it took 2 weeks of, connecting, and then you just kind of blew it off.
I didn't connect for 2 weeks. I would just go out and video.
I didn't mean that. Ask them, and nothing. Yeah. You said nothing happened.
I got nothing,
That's
but
what
I didn't ask at all. And then because I was just going out, I think what happens in this case is that it's like, we got a live one, and so they're kind of around a little bit more, and they're tuning into you a little bit more, and this is just, I'm just spitballing here. I think that's gonna be the name of Emma and mine.
Spitball?
Our little spitball. Yeah. And
Nice.
Yeah. I have to ask you about that. Anyway, so and then I think everybody kind of goes about their own business, and so then you put out the call and say, hey, by the way, but I've also heard it said that there is a frequency given off, and they recognize, they can see the frequency, which I think is really interesting. So I would love to see the crop circle. I would have submitted a crop circle picture.
Cool? Isn't that so cool?
I think that is cool. So someone asked me recently. They said, "So what do you do all day? Like what do you do? I mean, what? How do you come up with the shows? What do you do besides, I know you say that you astral travel in the car and stuff like that. I really don't. You have to be parked for that. But it is I would kind of like to talk about that. I mean, because I think that it's interesting. And I remember when I first became a mother, and I used to watch Golden Girls and The Nanny, and I look at my child and think, I'm supposed to be doing something with you. I had postpartum depression pretty bad. I mean, it was like I was really, I had a go bag in my car.
That shit fuck you up.
Yep. I had a go bag. I had rations, I had passports, I had a go bag. And I didn't think it was weird. And it wasn't too long after 9/11, and so I'm sure all of that played in. And anyway, so I talked to the doctor about it with kid number 2, and he said, "Why didn't you tell me?" I didn't know. I just didn't know. I shut down.
Yeah,
I didn't talk to anybody,
yeah.
and I tend to go underground anyway. But it's so. I remember thinking, what do you do all day? I mean, are people on the ground doing patty cake all day? I don't know that I can do that. And so that reminded me, it's like, what do you do all day as a metaphysical mom? And I think that it's, like you were saying, it's integrated, but it might be kind of interesting. I don't know. But one of the biggest things I've noticed is my animals. My animals, I adore my animals. And I have 2 deaf cats and a dog. And for some reason I keep getting this name, Sherman Meow. And so Girl Kitty, my cat, because they're deaf, you don't name them. And she was the one, I don't know if you guys remember, on Joyride Show, I was telling, it just happened. I turned on the dryer just to get the wrinkles out, and I heard a thump, 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 and it was my cat. And I mean, all of a sudden, I knew exactly what it was, and I ran, and we're all like loving on her. You would think she would never get in it again. No, she did. Place. It's hot. She went for a ride. No, I don't recommend putting your cat in the dryer, but it's not a good thing. But what I noticed with her, I wake up and we have this a padded headboard, and it's kind of camel shaped, and or camelback, and you'll look up and she's just sitting there. This white, beautiful cat's just sitting there looking at you. It's like she's either planning your demise or,
plotting something over there.
Protecting you. Well, I do think cats are sort of like the guards of the heavens, but, or I'll look and she'll be down the hall and I can see one eye and she's just like staring at you, and kind of trying to make eye contact. So that's been, and
so
Skittles,
what are we going with here though? They're like,
well, they know I know what they want. They know that I know, like Skittles though, I have this big black standard poodle. She's not really black, she's more gray, and she's got silver linings. She does, and she gets in your face and she just stares. I mean, just staring, and you know exactly what she wants. And anyway, so but it's a whole other level of guilt. Like, I just pretend I don't know what you want because right now I don't want to do it and I need to go do something else, and they know and I know they know, and anyway, so it just gets really annoying. But anyway.
So what is a day in the life like?
Well, what's a day in life like with you?
Oh, well, I can't say it's especially metaphysical. I don't know if it is or not, because maybe
or
it
you
is.
Just not want to say.
I know I think it's fairly normal. To be honest, I think it's pretty normal. I used to meditate and do a whole lot more of that stuff. I guess you could say I was a lot more on-grounded, but that was a place that I was supposed to be in. I was supposed to have my head in the clouds for a while and experience all of that other woo stuff. But I've been there and I've done that, and you can only do that for so long. I mean, there's still meditating to be done, but I'm just really appreciating and living in the 3D place right now. Having said that, my job still is very much metaphysical, so I'm all over the place. I still talk to the aliens every week and connect with my own alien. I got me an ET, and
you did my name on it.
That's right. Put a ring around it. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it just really has integrated because my life feels so normal to me, even though I don't know I don't know if I'm being braggy or not, but it's not very often that your friend says, "Hey, come on down, let's go do a radio or a TV show or whatever." That's kind of cool. I like that.
That is kind of cool, and I love that you will drive 4 miles and take you 2 hours to get here.
God, it took forever today. It's just the time. It was the time of day.
Yeah. I don't think that there's a normal. I just don't think there is a normal. I know. I was at a lunch the other day, and one of the schools, nameless school, and a mother asked me what I did, and because I'm compartmentalizing, I said, "Well, I'm a designer," and I have a little podcast, and she said, "Oh, is it about design?" "No." And she said, "Okay, and well, what's it about?" And another person watches the show, so she knew exactly. She'd sit back watching me squirm, and
What did you say?
I said, well, it's sort of spirituality.
Uh-huh.
And she was like, oh, do you want to get on the board of this
This is a
mother's retreat for spirituality for a religion, a big religion? And it's like, I looked at her. I just
they won't like me very much
said,
there.
no. And she looked at me, I mean, kind of surprised. She's like, oh. And I said, no, it's not. It's no. And her friend was like, Kerry, tell her what you do. I was like, well, and then of course I have to go back and tell the whole story about my great grandmother and, and kind of try to normalize it as much as I can, normalize it. And so I don't know. I'm trying to bring more of the 3D in, and because I do tend to hole up, and I'm trying to be out there a little bit more, because you never know where you're gonna.
Your little story. I have my own little story from last night. It was back to school night, and I saw
love that
like
night.
my doctor that she went to a different practice, and I moved neighborhoods, so we just split. But somehow we ended up back in the same neighborhood. So I saw her last night, and we didn't get much time to talk, but. She asked me, how you doing? And I was just very brief because we had to go to our next class. But I was thinking, practicing the dialogue if I were really going to tell her what I was going to do. So what came out of my mouth was, I teach and discuss or whatever. I have these shows and do these events on spirituality. And I can, just like with your person that you met the other night, they're going in one direction. And so I'm thinking to myself, how do I clarify my version of spirituality? And I'm like, sex, drugs, and rock and roll version of spirituality.
That's well said.
Isn't it? Isn't that a good description of?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
There is no wrong. I mean, there is no wrong. There's no right. There's no. I mean, there are perceived wrongs and rights. I mean, I completely agree with that. But it's. I love that sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll of spirituality.
We need to throw a little bit of rock and roll in there, and that'll be pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm. I know. Huh?
So I had yesterday I was listening to XM radio, and they brought up this. There was a comedian. I want to be very clear that this is not my joke. This is a comedian on Jeff Foxworthy's channel, and I don't remember the guy's name. Sorry, it was not a guy I knew. And he was talking about the spirituality. He was talking about religion, and he said, Jehovah's Witnesses believe that only 144,000 people get into heaven. And I know there are other religions that believe that.
That's a number in our spirituality too. There's only 144,000 twin flames on the earth.
Well, that's anyway. So and he said, well, if that's the case, why do they go door to door? I mean, what if you get down to like 8 seats and you just sell the last seat? Are you giving up your seat?
Exactly. I was like, what happens if there's who's taking the census on this particular number? That's what I want to know.
What happened? No, I have a friend who when Houston's hot in the summer, and with all 3 babies, how you gain the most weight at the end of your pregnancy, like the last 4 to 6 weeks. Well, I had all my babies at 38 weeks, and by probably 36 weeks, 35 weeks, I quit counting, because by that point I'd gained over 80 pounds. They were getting ready they wanted me to go prick my finger. I'm not pricking my finger. I don't want to do the whole insulin thing. And so I just ignored it, and I knew we were going to have a baby soon, and I'll quit eating after. And it did. I mean, I quit weighing myself at about 35 weeks. And so I'm hot and I'm miserable and I'm moving around slowly. And so somebody knocks on my door one day, and it's this woman. She's a Jehovah's Witness. And I just remember thinking, great, come in for coffee. I'm lonely. I'm bored and I'm lonely. And she did. And she was, and I thought, anybody stomping for my soul who's going door to door, she's got to be a good person. I may not necessarily be in line with her beliefs. That's okay. It's all for God.
Her heart's in the right place.
Well, really. And she was like, I just remember she smelled like flowers, and she was like hugging a pillow. I mean, I just loved her. And so she came in and she stayed with me for an hour. She'd drop by sometimes, and we'd always come in. We had this unspoken rule: we don't talk about yours. I won't talk about mine. I found that very effective, by the way. Someone approached me with Avon, and she brought out all her stuff. Well, then I'm like, okay, so can I show you my stuff? And she never called me again. Yeah. And so, and anyway, so this person, I can't, after 11 and a half years, I can't remember her name. You reach a point where you cannot ask. And so she drops in, and Charles will, your friend's here, and because she comes usually when we have a house full of people, and
that's
sometimes she
convenient.
stays, sometimes she doesn't. But then she left for a while, and another person would come by. She didn't get the rule. Like, she wanted to discuss the pamphlet. You can drop it off. I mean, it is curious, because I am curious about other things. But it's and then I think I became a training person, because one day they show up and there are like 7 of them. And I remember we're all sitting at my big old dining room table, and we're talking, and I mean, it's just fascinating. And she called me too much. She came by too much. She didn't. I didn't.
Too much.
Anyway, so my other friend came back, Dorothy, Barbara,
Barbara and
Babs.
Peggy Sue.
No, anyway, she's lovely. So I'm waiting for her to come back, because I kind of missed her. So
Okay, well, hopefully I'm there. I'm going to say, what's your name? It's nice to
Yeah.
meet you. I'll bail you out.
all my friends know that. I mean, you do. I mean, it is. Charles and I have that. That's our code, you know. And if I don't say it, then they step in.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. That's about all I have.
Bye.
No, I have. Okay, so coming down the pike, we do have. You have an event coming up, don't you?
I do have an event. I'll give it a little plug. I don't have too many details about it, but I can't wait to get my hands on you and give you my ideas for it for you. I mean, you get to do whatever you want, but I think you'll like my ideas. But I'm going to do this the second weekend of November, and I've already got like a pretty stellar lineup. I've got you. I've got Heather. I've got Sarah.
Oh, nice.
And I've got Denise. And I've got a couple others that are on the fence. I'm not ready quite yet
To expose.
to disclose that yet, but I kind of feel like I'm just going to like throw those like, and another one's coming and another one's coming, and I'm going to use that for my advertising. But yeah, so
awesome.
just let me plant that little seed if you want to come see me and Kari live.
How do you find? How would they find information about
There's
this?
really no way to find information at this point. But I will be creative.
You're psychic.
Yeah, there
You'll
you
be
go.
there.
Just figure it out. Actually, you know what I've decided is that tell me what you think of this theory, is that I was trying to be respectful of other people that were having their events in August. So I didn't want to announce mine until I'm going to do it any day, like officially. I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to take business from people or whatever. I want to give everybody their fair
nice.
share. However, I thought later on is that, you know what? The higher selves already know which event they're going to. Before I even know that I'm going to do this, they've already decided and conspired where they need to be. So I no longer feel the pressure of competition of either creating it or, having somebody else create it for me, because that was a problem for me another year. I was like, ooh, they're taking on my biz because it's too close to mine. Mm-hmm. No, if they're meant to come to mine, they'll come to mine. Right. If they're meant to go another, then they will go to another. So I no longer have.
Great way to look at that.
That's one of the things too of the like the surrender of the control. So I feel a whole lot freer knowing that it's just going to happen as it's going to happen.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. I love that because I think that I've been trying to practice that too across the board.
Mm-hmm.
That if I need to see it, I'm going to see it. If I need to be there, I'll be there. If not, I won't.
I used to feel like I had to keep up with all of the Joneses of everywhere, and I needed every solar report and every channeled message from every archangel, and I needed it all. And now earlier, I'm like, I didn't even watch your 2-minute video. What was it? If we're meant to see it, if we're drawn to it, we'll watch it. But you and I would just get the cliff notes over lunch, so that's okay.
I honestly, I don't watch other people's things, and it's not that I'm not interested and I don't think it's wonderful. It's just I don't. I don't know that I don't even have time. I don't think it's even that. I think it's my bucket's full.
My bucket is full, number one, and number two, I truly believe that on some level I'm meant to not see those. I want to keep my filter pure. And if I'm influenced by all these other people, then I'm not coming from my own place. Yeah. I
agree with that. And when I was doing design full time, people would always ask me if I watched HGTV and all this stuff. It's like, no. I mean, it is, A, I do it all day. B, I'm not doing it that way, and I want to do it my way. Mm-hmm. And if you're busy trying to do it mm-hmm. the way you think it, like if everybody's trying to be Oprah, then they're not being who they are.
Exactly.
And so, no, I completely agree with that. And it's really wonderful when you meet somebody and everything just sort of lines up. That actually really did happen yesterday. And this person's like, I'm never on Facebook. And I post and then I get off. And I don't really watch the videos. And I happen to catch Emma's video with me. and it was just like this
funny.
Perfect lining, and she kept saying things that I'd either just said that day.
Oh.
I mean, so there was just binging. It was just bing, 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 bing all over. And I think that's probably the biggest I think those concepts, those ideas are really what carry me through my day. That just pay attention, tune in, what's going on around you. Because I think that's a lot of it is seeing it because you don't, spirit will go boing and kind of like have to thunk you on the head. And it just being in the flow feels so good too. Just kind of cruising down the river. So,
and that's something you just got to kind of experience. You and I can talk about it all day long, but you got to have your own frame of reference to know what that flow feels like.
No, I completely agree, and I do think we make it harder than it needs to be sometimes, though.
Definitely,
that is the human condition.
Yes.
So I have a couple of things coming down the pike. I have a couple of great interviews with some amazing people. One of them is the Dual Soul Connection. Susie Hansen. She wrote this book.
Never heard of that.
Already videoed it. I just trying to get it out of my Google Drive. I'm not tech savvy. And anyway, so I'll post that. And then I have all of my videos that I posted. And there's an after show. So Bill and I spoke. I mean, I think we talked for like 3.5 hours.
Wow.
So we talked a long time. So there's a lot there. But some of it's a lot of times the camera just rolls. And I don't want to just in case there's some stuff that's not meant to be recorded. And so, I tend to make that stuff I tend to spend too much time on that editing stuff. And so it's, so hopefully it'll be a lot easier now that I'm here and we don't have to edit.
We have Michael now.
And we're going to start doing call-in shows. They can do call-in shows.
That's so cool. Those are fun.
So we'll advertise that ahead of time. And and Emma and I are doing a project together, the Spitballing project. Oh, your banger thing's going on.
The bang party.
So that is going to be fun. That is, we want people to take a short video asking a question. The video will be incorporated into the video, and then she and I will just spitball back and forth, and it'll be in the flow versus practice, or not. I'll sit down and I'll write out and I'll think, and it won't be that. It'll just be on the fly.
I thought, my very first thought about that was thinking that, that's going to be a pain in the ass and people aren't going to do that. That was my very first thought. But
it's just FaceTime with your phone.
But my very second thought was that is so not true, because people like to be a part of things, and we are now in a place of videos and whatever. So I think that is such a good idea, because people would love to get on that train of having their little 15 seconds of fame and ask their question on your show. I love that.
That would be fun.
It's a great idea.
I think it'll be fun.
I'm going to ask one. I want to be on.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you could probably just be in the room. But anyway, so that's it. This is just a shooting the shit video. So we're just having fun, catching up with Kerry's. And yay, kids are back to school. And our tribe's back in. Elisa gets back at some point soon. I don't know. Maybe she just leave.
I don't even know if she's
maybe
gone
she hasn't
yet.
left yet. And Tiff is around. And so we're going to get the girls back together and play. So keep an eye out for that. So that's it. Give us a buzz. Let us know. Drop something in. If there's something you want to hear about or you want me to look into, I love ideas, and I do think they're divine. And if it really just resonates, I'm all in. So let me know. All right. I think that's it. Thank you, Kari.
Thank you.
See you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.